Hello, welcome to the podcast version of The Poet, written by Robert R. Ricks and read by the author. The story contains mature content and harsh language. There may be some content which may offend some listeners. If you're easily offended, please stop listening now. This episode of The Poet is brought to you by Zydeco Online. United the Zydeco Nation, www.zydecoonline.com. Here we go. Chapter 5. The temple was massive. In the center was an ancient machine made of steel and brick. The brick outer wall had statues which stood at the four corners. Each was a multi-armed monstrosity of a voluptuous woman in various poses. Each statue had 4 arms, and 3 of the 4 held something different in each hand. The 4th hand on each statue held a sword pointing toward the center of the machine. There was a large door which was solid and singed on the inside. The chamber in the machine was roughly 15 feet by 15 feet, and there was a large stone slab directly in the center of it. Lying on the slab was Gravedigger in all his bloody glory. He was still somewhat fresh, and getting to the temple had proved to be a longer and harder trip than I had initially expected, mostly due to Jared. "Don't go blaming me!" "I do." His voice grated in my mind. Glancing down at the ground, I could see ancient bloodstains of many of my former victims mixed with reddish stains which smelled of burnt hibiscus. The brown stains formed a sort of abstracted painting against the neutral slate-gray marble floor. The room was illuminated with a dullish blue hue and had an eerie acoustical vibe to it. With it being so empty and void of any furniture or other sound-dampening features to it, one would expect echoes, but there were none. In fact, there was almost no sound-dampening effect the closer you got to the machine. "This place is so filthy." "Shut up, Jared." I knew it was no use to even attempting to silence the man. He was responsible for many deaths by poison. Some were children. I silently wished there was a way to kill him again. I was having a hard time moving around the area and kept catching myself doing things the way Jared would do them. "Remember, you can silence the voices. It doesn't have to be this traumatic yet." "Shut your pie-hole, Punjabi." Sarva ignored him. "All you need to do is complete the ceremony and then meditate. Do you have the materials?" I nodded. Sarva was a good man. I had almost forgotten about the meditation part. It had been a while since I needed to do it. "Hey, what about my needs?" whined Jared. "What are you talking about?" "You get a special meal for Bollywood and don't do anything special for me. I would think you would have something for me. After all, we have a history." "Don't let him trick you. That wasn't you who actually killed him. The memories may seem like it, but remember who you were." Sarva was right. The memories were blurring. I'd have to work faster. I realized suddenly that all the distractions and delays were part of Jared's plan. I grinned as I realized what he had been doing. "Oh, Jared, you've been a naughty boy." "Oh, fuck off. You think you run this shit? Sooner or later you'll slip up, and I'll be running it all. I almost did it before, and trust me, he was way stronger than your pathetic ass." "We'll see." I entered the machine and examined Gravedigger. He was wrapped in a white cloth and was lying on his back with ancient markings on his skin. Under his head was wood chips, incense, blackish-colored sand, and lots of red hibiscus flowers. Inside of the machine smelled like burnt flowers with a strong incense smell mixed in. "Smells fucking horrible in here. Oh, Jesus. Is his blood still running? How much blood does he fucking have?" I ignored Jared and pulled out a small bottle and opened it. More fragrant smells as the oil was exposed to the air. I poured the liquid on my empty hand and traced images on Gravedigger's forehead and closed my eyes and focused on him. I could feel something from him. There was a faint glint of something still within his body. "It may work. It won't give you the 30 days, but it may give you a few days." I nodded. I sat down Indian style and faced Gravedigger from the north. I closed my eyes and heard the door to the machine slam shut. "Think back to your loss. That will be the strongest memory to keep you in control." Sarva was right. When he said the words, my mind went back. I was sitting at my dining room table, and my daughters were eating breakfast with me. We were laughing about something I couldn't recall. The cereal was crunchy and sweet. One of my daughters asked me a question, which also was lost to me. I got up and looked around and couldn't find their mother. She had gone into the bedroom. I, I had gotten up to get her. The kids were giggling and kept eating. I walked into our bedroom and she was standing there in the golden morning light. She was more beautiful than anything I had ever seen. She said something to me as she motioned for me to come closer. I couldn't recall what she said, but I smiled. I walked over and she caressed my face and we kissed gently. I was happy. The world was perfect in that moment. I opened my eyes and saw a look of fear in her eyes, as I saw she wasn't looking at me, but behind me. I instinctively tried to push her down, while spinning and diving left. There was a man there, and he was firing a gun. I couldn't hear anything. All I saw was flashes of light as the bullets ripped into me. I saw the joy in his eyes as he kept firing. I knew him. I had worked with him. I couldn't understand why he was doing what he was doing. I tried to charge him, but my body wouldn't move. I looked down. I could see there was blood coming from my legs and chest. I fell to the floor and looked back. Something was wet under me. I silently screamed when I saw it was her. My heart was still pounding. I remember the kids, and when I rolled my head, I could see they were on the ground. Their crumpled little forms were covered in blood. I realized there were 2 more men there. I was fading, and the darkness was embracing me. I wasn't ready to go. They would have to pay. I would hunt them to the ends of the earth, and I would kill them. I screamed, and the anger exploded in me, and when I opened my eyes, the machine I was in was ablaze within a raging inferno. The body of Gravedigger was being consumed, and there was something with us in the flames. A form I could barely make out. She ravaged his flesh, and I sat there focusing on him. She paused at a point and then glanced at me, and then back at the body. She came to me and gently kissed me on my forehead, and her lips were soft and warm. The flames intensified, and even with my eyes closed, it was blinding. Finally, a brilliant flash, and I opened them. Nothing remained of Gravedigger except a fine powder which silhouetted where his body had been. "Sarva, are you there?" Just faintly I could hear him. "I am. It appears that she was satisfied with the offering." But he was not added to the collective. I nodded and understood. After all, it wasn't my kill. "I'll see you around." And I could no longer hear Sarva or Jared. I breathed a sigh of relief when I realized I wouldn't have to deal with Jared for a while. I didn't know how much time she had given me, but I knew it wouldn't be long until the voices would be unleashed on me again. I focused on my second target and wondered why I had dreamed of the ACU agent named Gabriel Torres.